Let me give you now in quick succession a list of studies every leader should engage in. You see, leadership isn't just about telling people what to do or setting a direction. It's about expanding your mind and the minds of those around you. It's about preparing yourself to see more, think more, and do more. So here's a list of subjects leaders should study. Number 1, the study of possibility. Leaders have to master the art of playing the what-if game. What if we had the right people? What if we built a team of leaders? What if we put in the effort and took the right risks? What if we went to the market with confidence and conviction? What if we hit our goals, exceeded expectations, and changed the game? What could we achieve? What are the boundaries, if any? You see, possibilities are endless, but only if you have the vision to see them. Robert Schuller called it possibility thinking. And I'd say that's not a bad subject to study. It's the foundation of vision. As leaders, you've got to be students of what could be, not just what is. You've got to cultivate that ability to dream, to see beyond the immediate. Because the future belongs to those who dare to imagine it. Next up is opportunity. Now, opportunity can be sneaky. Sometimes it's right there, closer than you think. But if you're not looking for it, you'll miss it. Leaders need to have their eyes wide open, constantly scanning, constantly aware of new possibilities. You've got to train yourself to see not just the obvious opportunities, but the hidden ones. Those are the real gems, the ones nobody else sees. Keep your radar up and tuned in, because opportunity often comes disguised as hard work or a challenge. And trust me, most people run from that, but not leaders. Third on the list, ability. Leaders have to be great students of ability, not just their own, but the abilities of the people around them. You see, one of the greatest mistakes you can make as a leader is to overlook the talent that's right under your nose. You could have a gold mine sitting in your office or standing next to you, and you'd never know it because you weren't paying attention. You've got to learn to recognize potential in others. Dig deep. Look beyond the surface. Some people have hidden talents that even they don't know about, and part of your job as a leader is to uncover those gifts. Your ability to develop others' abilities is what will set you apart. Number 4, inevitability. Now, this one's a big one. Leaders have to study inevitability. You've got to be able to look into the future and ask yourself, if I keep doing what I'm doing, where will it lead me in 5, 10, 20 years? You can't fool yourself into thinking that things will magically change on their own. That's not how life works. There's a path you're on, and if you don't like where it's headed, you need to make adjustments now. Picture it this way. You're in a little boat, and 200 feet ahead of you is Niagara Falls. You've got no motor, no oars. It's over. But imagine if someone had warned you when you were still miles upstream, when you still had the chance to steer clear of danger. And lastly, leaders need to study rationality. What's rationality? It's the ability to look at a situation, gather the facts, and come to a sound, sensible conclusion. Not an emotional reaction, but a rational decision. You've got to be able to see things clearly, to cut through the noise and the confusion, and to guide yourself and others toward the best possible outcome. It's an essential subject for leaders because in this fast-paced world, decisions matter more than ever. The better you become at making rational, informed choices, the better leader you'll be. That's what leadership is all about, seeing the fall before anyone else does and guiding people away from it while there's still time. Leaders have the responsibility to paint a picture of the future, to let others hear the roar of the falls before they're too close to turn back. You've got to speak the truth, no matter how hard it is, and give people choices before they run out of them. That's the power of leadership, helping people make the changes they need, whether it's in their career, their thinking, or their attitude. Because if you don't, they're going to drift into that inevitable disaster. Leadership is about helping them navigate to a better future, steering them towards success before it's too late. Leadership is not a rank. Leadership is not a position. Leadership is a decision. It's a choice. A choice to step up, to serve, to take responsibility, not because someone gave you a title, but because you decided to make a difference. It's not about where you sit in the organization. It's about how you act. The moment you decide to look out for the person to your left and the person to your right, you've already become a leader. That's leadership in its purest form. Now, here's a tough truth. Sometimes you're the problem. That's right. We've all seen it happen before, haven't we? We've seen it with these men of science, these empirical minds, and even these men of finance who were supposed to be the smartest people in the room. They were too smart for their own good. And what happened? It all came crashing down. And what did they do? They blamed everything and everyone except themselves. But let me tell you something. If you want to be a true leader, if you want to rise to greatness, you've got to take accountability. Accountability is the cornerstone of leadership. Here's the thing. You can take all the credit in the world for what you do right, but only if you also take responsibility for what you do wrong. It's a balanced equation. You don't get one without the other. That's the way life works. You don't get to celebrate the victories if you're not willing to own the failures. Because let me tell you, the real test of character isn't how you handle success, it's how you handle failure. Can you stand up and say, that one's on me? If you can, you're on your way to being a true leader. Now, you want to be an elite warrior? Let's talk about what it really takes. It's not about how tough you are, or how smart you are, or how fast you are. Those things matter, sure, but if you want to be truly elite, you better get really, really good at one thing. Helping the person next to you, that's right. You've got to become excellent at supporting the people around you on your left, on your right, because that's how we advance in this world. The truth is, the world's too dangerous, too difficult for any one of us to think we can make it alone. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't learn how to ask for help when you need it, and offer help when others need it, you're going to struggle. And here's the key. If you find your spark, if you find your passion, your purpose, then I commend you. That's a big step. But it's not the last step. The real question is, once you find that spark, who are you going to ask for help along the way? And when are you going to accept help when it's offered? Learn that skill. Learn how to lean on others when you need it. Learn how to offer your hand when someone else is struggling. It'll be one of the most valuable lessons you ever learn in life. Why? Because the greatest strength you'll ever have is in your relationships, in the way you help each other, and in how you lift others up. Now, here's something amazing. When you learn to ask for help, you'll find that there are people all around you who've been waiting, just waiting for the chance to help you. They wanted to, but they didn't think you needed it. Why? Because you've been pretending that you had it all under control. You kept up the facade that everything was fine and they believed you. But the minute you say, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm stuck. I'm scared. I don't think I can do this. You'll be surprised by how many people will rush in to support you. They'll help you, they'll guide you, they'll stand by you. But here's the thing. That help only comes when you've already proven that you'll do the same for them. Leadership isn't a one-way street. If you want people to be there for you, you've got to be there for them. It's that simple. The law of reciprocity, you give and then you receive. That's the key to building real, lasting relationships in life and in leadership. Now, here's a key principle. Make sure everything you do is the result of your own conclusions. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't listen to advice. By all means, seek counsel. But never let someone's opinion turn into an order you blindly follow. Take advice, absorb it, and then run it through your own mind, filter it through your own reasoning, and ensure the final decision is yours. We call this true leadership. It's not just following the crowd, but having the discipline to think critically, to reason, and to act based on all the input you gather. Now, I won't sugarcoat it. This isn't an easy task. In fact, it's one of the tougher disciplines. But I'll tell you this. It's a possible task, and the rewards are beyond measure. When you take this extra step of thinking for yourself, you're walking the path of true leadership, a summit not many are willing to climb. Most folks are content to stay where it's easy, where it's comfortable. But those who take on this challenge, they find something special. The small price of these early disciplines, thinking critically, acting with purpose, pales in comparison to the treasure you'll gather as time goes on. That treasure isn't just financial, it enriches your heart, your mind, and your spirit. And yes, it often shows up in your wallet too. Now, let me wrap this up with some challenges. These are not just thoughts to ponder, but real, actionable challenges to help you elevate your game. Here's the first one. Let other people live small lives, but not you. When it comes to leadership, when it comes to responsibility and the chance to make an impact, leave the smallness behind. Let others cry over minor setbacks. You rise above them. Let others argue over petty things. You focus on the big picture. Deal with what really matters, the bigger goals, the bigger dreams, the larger opportunity. Now, for the second challenge. As leaders, we're not just here to help people do their jobs. We're here to help people live their lives better. There are two types of responsibility. One is to help people develop the skills they need for work. But the higher responsibility, that's to help them grow as individuals, to teach them life skills. Don't just teach someone how to earn a paycheck. Teach them how to build a life. Help them develop awareness, set goals, expand their minds, grow into the future. When you do this, no matter how long they stay with you, whether it's a week, a month, or years, they'll leave saying, that was the most valuable experience of my life. Not just because of what they earned, but because of what they learned. And let me leave you with this final thought, an ancient principle that still rings true today. It's from the Bible, and it says, if you work on your gifts, they will make room for you. In other words, if you develop yourself, your talents, your abilities, the world will find a place for you. You won't need to force doors open. They'll open on their own. If you practice your gifts will create a place for you, a place of leadership, influence, and impact. When you hone your skills, doors will open, opportunities will arise, and you'll find yourself in a position where you can touch someone else's life, leave your mark, contribute to a greater cause, and build something remarkable. Leaders at their core have one key thing: followers. And a follower isn't just someone who tags along. A follower is someone who raises their hand and says, I believe in where you're going. I want to follow you to that destination. They voluntarily align themselves with your vision because it speaks to them on a deeper level. So what does it mean to lead? It means that you as a leader have a clear vision of a world that does not yet exist, a world that could exist. You see the potential, the possibility, and by sharing that vision, by articulating it with passion, with clarity, over and over, you start to inspire others. People who believe in that same vision will begin to gravitate toward you. They want to see that world too, and they'll join you, figure out ways to make it a reality, and walk with you on that journey. That's the essence of leadership. It's about showing people a future that isn't here yet but could be, and inviting them to help build it. In my own work, leadership means painting a picture of a world where most people wake up every day excited to go to work and come home feeling fulfilled by the work they do. Now, that doesn't mean every day is perfect. You're not going to love every minute. Think about it. Do you love your kids every minute of every day? No, of course not. But you love them deeply every day, no matter what. The same should go for your work. You might not enjoy every single task, but the big picture is something you're passionate about. The truth is, right now, the majority of people, more than 90%, don't love what they do. They may like it well enough, but they don't feel that deep sense of purpose. When I talk about a world where people truly love what they do, it resonates with those who share the same belief, and it inspires them to figure out how they can contribute to making that vision a reality. Now, here's something important about leadership. You'll be told all your life that you need to learn to listen. And that's true, but let me add something. You need to learn to be the last to speak. I see it time and time again, even in boardrooms with leaders who mean well and think they're doing a good job. They'll come into a room and say, here's the problem. Here's what I think, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. It's already too late. When you speak first, you color everyone else's opinions, even if you're asking for their input. But if you learn to hold back, to keep your thoughts to yourself until everyone else has shared theirs, two powerful things happen. First, people feel heard. They feel that their voice matters, that they've contributed something valuable. And second, you get to hear all the ideas before forming or sharing your own conclusion. That's invaluable. The skill then is to keep your opinions to yourself. If you agree with someone, don't nod in approval. If you disagree, don't shake your head in disapproval. Instead, sit quietly, listen, and the only thing you're allowed to do is ask questions. Ask questions to better understand their perspective, to dig deeper into why they hold the opinion they do. Don't just listen to what they're saying. Understand where they're coming from. Understand why they think the way they do. And at the end, after everyone has spoken, you'll have your turn. It sounds simple, but believe me, it's harder than you think. Nelson Mandela was a master of this. In every meeting, he was always the last to speak. He allowed others to share their thoughts. And then he would ask questions to fully grasp their perspective. Only after all the input had been given, after all the voices had been heard, did he speak. And that, my friends, is leadership at its finest, leadership that inspires, leadership that empowers, leadership that makes a difference. So practice being the last to speak. Practice your gifts until they create a space for you, and lead with a vision that others can rally around. That's the path to true leadership. Let me give you a lesson that will serve you well as you rise in life. As you gain fame, fortune, position, and seniority, something interesting happens. People start treating you differently. They hold doors open for you. They bring you coffee or tea without you even asking. They call you sir or ma'am and offer you all kinds of perks. But here's the thing you've got to understand, that none of those things are really for you. They're for the position you hold, for the title you've earned, for the level of success you've reached. But deep down, what you deserve, what I deserve, what we all deserve, is a styrofoam cup. Never forget the lesson of humility and gratitude. Enjoy the perks, sure, accept the coffee, enjoy the respect, but remember, those are not for you, they're for the role you're in. Keep that perspective and you'll stay grounded no matter how high you climb. Now, let me share something that bothers me deeply. I can't stand the fact that so few people get to say, I love my job, like it's some kind of rare prize or lottery win. You know how it goes, you're out with friends, and someone says, I love my job, and everyone else reacts like they've just won the jackpot. To me, that's absurd. Loving your job shouldn't be rare. It should be the norm. It's a right, a God-given right, to wake up every day excited about what you do. If you don't feel that, you have every right to demand it. Yes, demand that your leaders create an environment where you not only want to show up, but where you feel safe, where you care about each other, where you're encouraged to grow. You should work in a place where you're free to express your vulnerabilities, your fears, and your concerns without being judged. And here's the thing. When people feel safe, when they know their leaders care about them as individuals, about their growth, their confidence, their joy, something magical happens. People give their all. They offer their time, their energy, their blood, sweat, and tears, not for a paycheck, but because they believe in the vision. They care about contributing to something bigger than themselves, something they love being a part of. It becomes personal. I talk about this all the time. Working hard for something you don't care about is called stress. But working hard for something you love, that's called passion. And I'm tired of hearing CEOs say we only hire passionate people. They don't even know what that means. Everyone has passion, but we don't all have passion for the same things. You've got to give people something to believe in. Give them a chance to contribute to something meaningful, and passion will flow naturally. Someday, if you work on your gifts, people will call you noble. They may even reward you in ways you can't yet imagine: plaques for your wall, trophies for your shelf, but the real reward. The real gift is knowing yourself. It's knowing that you did the best you could with what you had. It's the expansion of your mind, your heart, and your soul. It's the impact you've made, the lives you've touched, and the dreams you've helped build. Your gifts, if you work on them, will make room for you. And believe me, I'm living proof of that. Look at where my gifts have taken me. I grew up in a small village in Idaho, far from the world stage. Yet, because I worked on my gifts, I now travel the globe speaking to people like you. My gifts brought me here to this room tonight. And what an experience it is to have the chance to speak to you, to hopefully touch your life in some small way. One of the most rewarding experiences in life is discovering how you can help someone else. And one of the greatest thrills, it's investing life into life. You've given me that opportunity tonight, and for that I'm grateful. Thank you for letting me share my thoughts, my experiences, and my heart with you tonight.